Hello, people. This is Adrian here, and you can tell I'm wearing this hat. No particular reason. I just want to wear the hat that I, made. It's pretty cool. I like it. Also, I thought in this one, since I don't have any new comics, I would go over my top 10 Uncanny X-Men comics. And here's the rule for me: it has to be Uncanny X-Men, not X-Men, X-Men Legacy, or X-Men Unlimited or Extreme X-Men or whatever the hell it is, All New X-Men. Not one of these. Uncanny X-Men. It has to be Uncanny X-Men, and these are my top 10 Uncanny X-Men books. I thought it would be pretty cool just to show and, make a video. And I've been wanting to make a video of, just discussing my top 10 X-Men, but, I've been lazy. I've been having to dig that out, and not just that too, but I also started school, and it's just been busy as all hell, and all that jazz. So, but yeah, but I really wanted to make this because really want to talk about this and just make a video because sometimes I will miss videos and I get the itch to do them. So here are my top 10 Uncanny X-Men issues. The first one, Uncanny X-Men 133, and I think we don't really need to discuss why. I don't know if it's really a big thing to discuss this, but this issue was Wolverine's coming out party, essentially. This is the issue where Wolverine put everyone on notice, because in the previous issue, the entire X-Men were pretty much captured by the Hellfire Club. They're captured. Wolverine is in the sewers alone. It's all up to him. And he literally just tears so many people apart. Not literally, but he does just completely kick a shitload of ass, man. I mean, I can't even remember the guy who couldn't alter gravity. I mean, he stabbed them unintentionally. But he was just destroys his guard and just, if it wasn't for him, the X-Men might still be captured by the Hellfire Club. I mean, this is the issue where just Wolverine is a badass, and you don't want to F with him, because he will destroy you, and he wouldn't even have a Berserker Rage either. So that's telling you something. This is the issue that showed that Wolverine is a badass. This is really where, he was always had those edges, but this is one where it really showed what he's capable of doing. So, 133. While we're on that subject, here is Uncanny X-Men 113. And see, here's why it's one of my top ones. This is one of the first times that the X-Men, well, not the first time, but one of the first successful times that they really confronted Magneto. Because, Magneto pretty much owned their asses. He really did up to this point. And, in the previous issue, he owned them. He was just making short work of these new X-Men. And this is the issue where they finally get their hands up on Magneto. The new team finally essentially prove their worth. They prove that they're as good as the original X-Men by being able to beat Magneto. And don't get me wrong, they do beat Magneto, but it comes at a huge cost, because this is the issue where half of the team gets separated. Well, most of the team gets separated. Most of the team is pretty much gets buried, and the only people to make it out were Jean Grey and Beast. And it wasn't just the battle that, just a lot of ingenuity and just the fact that they managed to, prove themselves that they're worthy, they can beat Magneto, but it also set so many things in motion. This is where Jean Grey believes the X-Men are dead. She believes everyone's dead. They're gone. And so this kind of leads into the Dark Phoenix saga and all of that jazz. But like I said, this issue is just where the X-Men, this new team of X-Men, really prove that they can take down Magneto, that they're just as good. And, it's such a great battle scene, just seeing all the entire team come together. So, definitely one. That's another one. And these are in no particular order. This is just my top 10, so just FYI. Alrighty. Let's go with Uncanny X-Men 303. Now, not every issue of X-Men has to be badassery and some people's taking on an entire army, and No. This is just a good story. And not just a good story, but a very heartbreaking story. You know, people forget that the comics aren't just about, destroying huge robots and epic battles between villains. No. They're also about characters. This is not, you know what I mean? This is a form of literature, and this is where it really proves that, yeah, this is a form of literature. Has nothing to do with fighting bad guys or anything. This is the issue where Ilyana Rasputin dies. No, Rasputin? Yeah. Well, Ilyana, the little sister of Colossus, dies. Magic. This is the issue where she dies, and the way it's done is just so tastefully well done. I mean, it's just like, you feel the emotion. And at the end of the issue, Jubilee finally breaks down and cries because she started getting close to Ilyana. Because Ilyana reverted back to her child. And just to see, like, Kitty Pryde come in and, say her final farewell, but Jubilee breaks down at the end, and at the end of the issue, Jean Grey is over there, holding her, and then that's when you really feel it. I mean, I remember I read this for the first time, and I was like, right in the field. Why, X-Men? Why did you do this? Like, I was like, it was so sad. I was so bummed out. I was so sad. And I was just like, don't cry. Maybe just a manly tear. But it was just so emotional and so well done. And this kind of shows that comic books are literature. They can be more, they're more than just that. And it really delivered because you really feel the impact. So, this is why it's up there. Uncanny X-Men 303. Alrighty. Uncanny X-Men 201. Now this is really a strong characterization of Storm. And the reason I put this up here is because, to give you background, Storm at this point doesn't have any powers. She lost her powers by, saving Rogue from like a D-powerer, I don't know what it's called. And she's fighting Cyclops, who's fully powered, has more experience for the leadership of the X-Men. And here's Powerless Storm. She ends up beating him. She beats Cyclops without any powers, a more experienced, seasoned, crime fighter, and she ends up beating him. And not just that, but this issue shows, like, two characters that are on different paths. Like Cyclops' head is not in the game. Like, he's on a different path to being a husband, being a father. He's going on a way different path. And this is showing a character stepping up, like, getting elevated, if you will, going on the path of being a leader and taking his full responsibility. So it's just a nice characterization of two characters that are going in two different directions. And it really shows how strong and determined Storm is. A really strong, powerful female character. No powers, beating, if you want an example of, a strong portrayal of a female character, this is a good issue to do it in. 201. So yeah. The other one that I have is Uncanny X-Men 150. And this is a really good issue because this is where, how do I put this? This is the last issue where Magneto was truly a bad guy. Before this, Magneto was like irredeemable. He's a bad guy. There's nothing good about him. But this is the issue where he was the last he was like that for the last time. That's why it's so momentous, because like ever since after this issue, he has never really been a true villain. He's been more of an anti-hero, some more along the lines of that. He has never been a true villain after this issue. And in this issue, the X-Men are pretty much battling Magneto on his island. They get bombarded there, and they're like stranded, and Cyclops is there, and at the very end of the issue, you got the turning point for the character of Magneto, where it was just like, Kitty Pryde, who I believe was 13 at the time, maybe 14, but she was really young. She destroys his computers because she can phase through computers and destroy them. And in this issue, and Magneto loses his shit. He sees her and he's like, "What have you done?" Blah blah blah. And then, like, it releases like an electromagnetic pulse that completely knocks Kitty Pryde out and almost kills her. And when Magneto Magneto looks at her and he realizes and sees how young she is, and he's just and when he sees how young she is and what he did to her, he is like completely horrified. This is when he realizes that he's not any better than the Nazis. That she's so young, and he starts questioning his motives and everything that he's done. That's when he's like, I was always doing this to protect mutants like yourself, and here I am doing this horrible thing to someone who's so young. I mean, it's just such a powerful issue that they may not have truly beaten Magneto physically, but mentally they won in the end, because this issue was like a huge turning point for the character. And that one panel alone where he realizes that it's just so strong and well done. So definitely 150 is on this as well, so get this. And while we're on the subject of Kitty Pryde, Uncanny X-Men 143. And as I recall, if you remember how I said this is the issue where Wolverine really, like a character issue for Wolverine where people really start taking notice, this is the issue where people really start taking notice of Kitty Pryde. This is the issue where she really earns her stride. Because here she is, like 13, 14 years old, alone in the X-Mansion. And surprise, surprise, like here's this alien, and she is outmatched, completely outclassed, outmatched. Her powers aren't overpowering. She doesn't have a healing factor. She's 13 years old. She's alone with this awful monster that is just really, really trying to kill her. And this issue just shows just how strong and ingenious and just, that never give up attitude of the character. Just how strong-willed she is. And again, if you really want to have a character, a strong female superhero, an issue, if you want to get an example of that, this is a good issue. You have this kid, who's essentially a kid, and, go up against this horrible monster and come out better. She pulls out everything she can, all the stops that she can think to stop it and to survive, and she ends up beating this thing. And this issue just shows what a great character. This was like a character-defining issue. So definitely, if you're really a Kitty Pryde fan, this is 143 Uncanny X-Men 143 is the way to go. So there's 143. Uncanny X-Men 173, a Rogue issue. Now, this is where Rogue this is the issue where it pretty much shows that there is redemption with the character of Rogue, that the character is redeemable. Because up to this, like, when she came to the X-Mansion, none of the X-Men wanted her around. They did not want her. They knew what she did to Miss Marvel. They hated her guts. Some people even, they were threatening to quit over this. Over her admission to the X-Men. And when she came in, it was purely for selfish reasons. Like, I'm having trouble, controlling this, and it's just driving me crazy, for purely selfish reasons. And in this issue, she not only comes to the aid and voluntarily comes to the aid of Wolverine, she saves Wolverine's life, and she saves the life of Mariko, his then fiance or ex-fiance, whatever you want to put it. And this is where she really proves herself to Wolverine that, I did some things in the past, but I'm waiting to change, and there is redemption out there for her. This is the issue that proves that, and so definitely a good issue, what I'm saying? And to earn Wolverine's trust, that's a big deal. So if you're a Rogue fan, this is one to get to. Uncanny X-Men 275. A really, really good issue. And the thing about this issue, it takes place, it's like two stories. You have one story of the X-Men, on a Shi'ar, helping out the Shi'ar Empire, essentially. And they're in this planet. Well, you have that issue, and then you have this another story where it's Rogue and Magneto in a Savage Land, trying to take down Zaladin, the person who took away Polaris' powers. And, just like both of the stories are so well done, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like you got some really good moments, character moments with Wolverine and Jubilee and, with the primary team over there in the Shi'ar Empire, helping them out. And then you got this really great story of the Savage Land, and like I said, the thing about it is it's so great because it connects to 150. Because Magneto sunk a Russian submarine in this, and this is consequences that are still being felt to this day. In fact, before like the whole incursion happened and the world became one, Magneto flashed back to this where he sunk the submarine ship, and this comes into play again. Someone was so bitter that his son or his family member died on that submarine that he sunk, he pretty much sabotaged Magneto's efforts. And it's not just that too, but it shows just how conflicted Magneto was. Magneto, like, he knows what needs to be done. He knows he's gonna have to do some dirty work, that he's gonna have to kill her. But at the same time, he's so torn up about it. He regrets having to do it. He knows what people are gonna think of him, and not just that, but he started to. It's another character issue for Magneto and Rogue, because Rogue is starting to have feelings for him. And he knows what it's going to do with his relationship with Rogue, and he knows what it's going to do, but he knows that there's really no other way to do it. And it's just such a great thing to see Magneto so conflicted, but at the same time knowing that it needs to be done. So, Uncanny X-Men 275 for sure. Uncanny X-Men 182, and I went over this in another video when I did a Rogue Spotlight, and again, this is the issue where Rogue really, like a characterization issue where Rogue realizes the horrible things she did. Because before this, she was on the X-Men for really selfish reasons. Like, she wants to get better. She can't handle the powers. It's driving her crazy. And she felt bad, but Rogue never really fully realized how bad what she did was to Miss Marvel until this issue. And in this issue, she literally gets taken over by the Miss Marvel personality. She gets taken over. And when she gets taken over by the Miss Marvel personality, she realizes that she's not only taking over her personality, she's taking over the emotions that are behind her personality and the memories. And so Miss Marvel, she remembers things, but she has no emotions to them. You're my parent, I should love you, but I have no feelings towards you. And she realized that essentially, this is almost like an allegory, if you will, to almost the same thing as taking someone's soul away. And this is essentially what Rogue did. She essentially took away the soul of Miss Marvel and kept it for her own. And this is when she finally realizes how bad she was. Like, oh my god, I'm such a terrible person. And this is leads to some self-destructive behavior where she just begins to hate herself and gets more aggressive. But it wasn't until this issue that she didn't realize how bad she fucked up, essentially. Sorry for the language, but that's the best way I can do it, and I'm kind of tired. But yeah, and this is where it really things start to change for Rogue. So definitely 182. And what can be the final issue? Well, Uncanny X-Men 251 in my top 10. And let me tell you the story. Once upon a time, a few years ago, I was looking through X-Men and just reading some interesting stories online that I wanted to read. And I go on eBay and I buy a box of X-Men comics from 251 to 300. It had the first appearance of Gambit, too, for $33. This was the first issue that I read. And this is what started the whole love affair with X-Men. Like the whole, I love X-Men so much, so great. This is the issue that started it all. Because when I read it, I was just so blown away. And I just wanted to read another issue. And then another issue. And then another issue. And I just kept going and going. And I was like, shit, I want to read more before what happened before this. I want to read more what happened before this. And then not just that, but I'm over here looking at the writer. And I'm like, Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont. All this shit is really, really good. Chris Claremont. And then that's when I make the connection. I was like, and then when I started reading some of the other issues, I was like, I'm going to try to get every single run that Chris Claremont did on X-Men. And this is what started it all. In this issue, Wolverine is pretty much crucified towards Gigantic X, and he's been crucified for days. His healing factor is beyond pushed to the limit. It's like pushed to the limit and beyond that. He is in bad situation, and the Reavers are just torturing him like crazy. And, he doesn't, he doesn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, and he just managed still holding on, until finally he sees an opening and he breaks free. And Jubilee is and this is what also started the relationship between him and Jubilee. Jubilee is in a corner, like, she's not sure. She's like, should I help him? Should I not? Like, if I help him, they're gonna kill me. If I don't, I can't just leave him there. And finally, Wolverine just looks at me, he's like, kid, you're gonna lend a hand? And that's how the issue ends. And this is what started the relationship between her and Wolverine, and this is what got me into reading X-Men. It's such a good jumping on point. Like, if you never read X-Men before, or if you don't want to be lost in a story arc, this is kind of a story arc that you can just jump into it. And those are my favorite top 10 X-Men. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stayed through. Well, it's 20 minutes. We're all busy as hell. If you want to skip through, feel free. But thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Long day. Let's see what's on television. This just in. Footage of the Exile, our very own superhero, going completely overboard. I don't know about you, but this footage is very hard to watch. The Exile, we thought he was a superhero, but it looks like he's really a villain. Popular opinion about him has shown that he is falling out of favor with the public, and I gotta say, I do not feel safe with this person roaming the streets. After all I did for the city, huh? One little outburst and I'm the villain, huh? You, HitmonVonDoom, you're supposed to be dead. Told you, Exile. Now you're the villain. Where'd he go? We need to talk.